Good morning, everyone. Okay, it's maybe not morning where you are. It's morning where I am right now, at least for the next hour. I'm a bit slow today. So I really want to get into this YouTube thing again. It's a lot of fun when I film, so I'm going to try to be consistent this time. I'm not going to dilly-dally too much. I'm going to get right into this. Also because my mum's waiting for me to cool her. I'm going to start by putting something on my lips, and I'm going to be using the EcoSoul lip oil. Okay, I'm going to get right into this, and we're starting with our base cushion foundation. This is the Airfit Apio cushion in color number 21 with an SPF of 50, and it is reflective. Oof. Okay, comes with this nice little spongy thing. And cushion foundations are great because they're not super heavy, but they give me coverage, which will help with these. I sometimes may not even wear a cushion foundation, particularly when summer comes around. Right now we're in winter. But also if I'm going to the office, just because I don't have time for all that extra in the morning, unless I'm having a really bad skin day, which everyone has. As you can see, it gives really nice coverage without being too much, and I am going to pat it a little bit onto my neck. Make sure that it blends nicely. You don't end up with a sharp line along there. That's that. And we're going in with some concealer, and this is the NYX Dark Circle Corrector Concealer in Fair. And do I have any particular spots that need covering after the concealer, the foundation? So we're just going to be putting this on our under eyes, though I'm going to give you a tip. If you're trying to cover blemishes on your face, use a fluffier brush, because it gets around the blemish better, so it actually blurs it out more. But when it comes to concealer under the eyes, I use a flat brush. So we're going to take a little bit of the concealer on our brush, and then I'm going to put it on the back of my hand a little bit to wipe off. You always end up picking up too much. And then we're going to start low. And I start low because then by the time that I've gotten all of that covered, where my eye is likely to be creasiest here. By the time I've covered most of it, I'm left with just a smidge on my brush, so that you don't want to load up products in areas where you're more likely to crease. Under eye area for me is very creasy, so again, we're starting low, and by doing this we're getting as little product as possible while still having coverage. And voila. It's not entirely covered, but it's enough. I just want to reduce how blue my under eye area is, and it's very, very blue, not because I don't get enough sleep. I get plenty of sleep, but it's very, very blue because I'm very pale. Then I'm going to be setting all of this with the Peach Cotton Pore Sun Packed by Skin Food. They like to think that, well, there is an SPF in here, but for powder SPF to work, you have to load up so much powder that it's just not worth it. But it's still a very nice powder. It smells kind of nice. It's not too heavy on the under eye area. Oh, I just made that crack worse. It's not too heavy. And I'm just patting that anywhere where I might have a little bit of creasing going on. It just helps set it. Also my lids and anywhere with very visible pores. because it sort of blurs them out a little bit. I don't know why or how or whatever. Right, first going into contour, and I'm going to be using the NYX High Definition Blush in Taupe. So you can see I have hit pan, but that's okay because there's enough of it in there for this to work. I'm going to be taking a angled fluffy brush, put a little bit on there, and we go. Now I only do this because I'm super pale, and this adds some warmth, but also like if you look, this side looks less flat than this side, which still looks kind of flat. So that's the point. It's not to pretend to have different bone structure or anything. This contouring is literally, it's not to carve out my face, but it's to add a little bit of dimension, which goes away if you're very, very flat with very pale colors. I'm going to contour my nose. And just a smidge under the lip, so that it gets nice and pouty. Done that, we're going into the eye look. So I was kind of feeling a very specific type of a look, and for that look, oh god, this looks really messy. I'm going to be using the Etude House Lavenderland palette, and I'm going to be using probably this accent color with this one. No, not that one, as a base. But I'm going to be digging into multiple palettes because I have multiple palettes because I can never choose. Because they all come in beautiful colors. So this is the Etude House Play Color Eyes in Wine, and it has a lot of pretty burgundy colors. It also has this beautiful color, these two here, for the definition of the eyes. I'm going to be using this brush, which is stained with eyeshadow, and I actually have a tip. You take one of these hair donuts and you just go, and it removes any excess powder so that you now get no pigment from it. So I'm going to be going into the lightest shade right there, this one. Lightest shade of this look, by the way. And we're going to be putting that all over the lid. I have slightly hooded eyes, which you can tell when I do this, how most of my lid seems to disappear. That's how you know you have slightly hooded eyes. Or in my case, slightly hooded, in some cases severely hooded. And so I always bring the color up onto the eye socket bone, because then when my eyes are open, you can still see some of the color. Or more of the color, the way you would with someone who doesn't have hooded eyes. Almost like creating a false crease. I'm going to take a slightly more concentrated detail brush, which is covered with an orange pigment. Lots of fun. Both of these brushes are from Real Techniques. And we're going into the slightly darker brown, this one. And we're going to be using that to create a crease. Again, I'm putting it on the eye socket bone because that way we create almost a false crease, reducing the hood of the eye a little bit, I guess. Okay, accent color, we're going for this one here. It's slightly shimmery, but that's okay. And I'm going to be using a detail brush, and this is a Nameless Mermaid brand, probably a knockoff of something that is an actual brand, but you can tell it's got a bit of a pencil-esque shape. If it shows up like this, because otherwise I'm just going to use my finger and then blend it out later. It looks messy now, but I'm blending it out after. This is just about getting the color on. Inner corner as well. So I'm going to be using this one, Again, nameless brand, but it's a fluffier brush, so it should be a good blending brush. I have found when blending, if you feel like you're losing too much of the pigmentation, you just dip your brush ever so slightly into the original color that you were using, and you can blend with it and add back in that pigmentation. You don't want to put too much on your brush when you're doing that, but just enough to yeah, get the pigmentation back. Eyeshadow done. I'm going into liner. So now I'm going to go into eyeliner. I'm going to start with this Etude House Proof 10 gel pencil in brown to line my upper waterline, which is terrifying, so. Now I'm going to be using a gel eyeliner by NYX, and this is the brown NYX gel liner and smudger in glass. It's a little glass pot, which is very useful. And we're going to be taking a skinny brush from Real Techniques, and we're going to see how well I can do this and make a winged liner, because it's not always easy, so bear with me. Another tip for the hooded eye babies out there: if you're doing your eyeliner and you want to create a bold wing, but you haven't yet mastered the bat wing technique, which I will talk about at another time, just draw it straight, because then you're still elongating your eye, you're just not lifting the eye necessarily. I would say that's a fairly successful wing. Actually, this gel eyeliner is really nice because it is very smooth, so it doesn't pull or grab, and you can smudge it if you want. I'm not going to. And I'm going to do some fun little details. That's that done. I'm gonna wait for my eyeliner to set a little bit before I curl my lashes and do my mascara. So while we wait for that, I'm going to be doing my brows. This is the NYX Professional Makeup Eyebrow Powder Pencil. Yes, eyebrow powder pencil in taupe. I particularly want to blur it a little bit here, so I just pat it with my finger. Because the front of your brows being too heavy is not a good look. I'm going to go in with a burgundy-ish color. I'm going to be going into the Perfect Filter Eyeshadow Palette by NYX. And this is the Rustic Antique. And I'm just going to pick one of the reddish tones in there that does not have a shimmer. And I'm going to be using a angled brush. And then an eyebrow gel. This is the Bear With Me Brow Setter. And it's in clear by NYX, by the way, this one. And bushy brows are very much in fashion at the moment, but I like to keep mine a little tamed because, I don't know, it's hard letting go of that beautiful brow shape to opt for the more bushy brow, but that is why I do brush some of them up. By now, my eyeliner should have set properly, so we're going to be going in with a lash curler. This is just an H&M lash curler. My lashes stick out front ways, but they're very long, so if I don't curl them, I keep getting into my glasses, and that's not nice. So. Then I'm going to be using the NYX Doll Eye Mascara. I prefer a different mascara, but this is what we had. Oh god. It's the brows, the brush is a little too bristly for me. I prefer one that's, well, causes less clumping really. But whatever. Donuts. I've forgotten a part of my eyes, but now I need to wait for my mascara to dry. So while I do that, I'm going to be using a blush, and this is the Apure Juicy Pang Blusher, Jelly Blusher in BE02. This is the color. Isn't that pretty? And I'm going to be using a fluffy round brush. This one's fairly new, so we'll see how that goes. The blush, not the brush. Brush is quite old. Interesting. Oh, that's quite nice. It's a jelly blusher, which means it has an interesting texture. When you touch it with your finger, it's almost slightly wet, but it's not. So, I don't know. I like heavy blush. I think it has a very cool effect when you go for the very heavy blush. Okay, so the thing I forgot on my eyeballs was to add some shimmer. More shimmer than the shimmery color. So I'm going into my Play Color Eyes, the Cherry Blossom palette, and I'm going into, if I can hold all this in place, this shimmery shade here with a finger, and I'm going to be putting that on the lid and under the lower lash line. Apparently my camera just cut out, so we're going to be using the NYX Duochrome Highlight in Lavender and a fluffy unicorn brush to add a little highlight to my face. I say a little, but it's probably going to be nuts, so. Over my face. It's an odd color, but it's a nice highlight. Lips. I'm going to be using the, again, Juicy Pang Mousse Tint, and I think this is Burnt Heart. I really need to label these. I think this is Burnt Heart. So, what do we think of the color? Do we like it? Do we not? I'm actually kind of impressed with the color. You can also use these really easily as a blush, but not today. And that was it. So I'm going to put on jewelry, and I'll be right back. So I'm now wearing my jewelry, and the look is complete. So I hope you had fun watching this, and I hope to see you in the future in the next one. Have a lovely day or night. Sleep well. Be good. See you next time. Bye.